Okay, well, thank you everyone. Welcome to Double GDP's sprint update for sprint ending December 9th. In this sprint, we kicked off, we reached residents, we have about 10 residents at Nkwashi with an estimate with AIR, and we have about 10 homes under construction. This is the latest estimate from the Nkwashi team. We kicked off collaboration with Nkwashi on the leasing program, building the invoicing and payment system for that, and received a brief to start building that out. We actually did also an interview with the Nkwashi construction contractor on the home building process, and that's a big step in trying to start to collect more information on how construction works. We targeted the product areas of community management interface, form design management, and um, we had planned to do plots registry and expansion from the previous sprint, but we had to deprioritize that to do a little bit more planning, especially with the ERP system coming on board. And but we did, in place of that, do a lot of small stories to help the user experience of our CSMs as well as our admins. So the first thing is community management interface. We started to build out a community management interface where where Nkwashi admins as well as our support as our sales team start to do more demos can build out a community specific support page with their own branding. So this is not this is great for Nkwashi team because they can actually start creating categories of different types of support information or departmental support information. We've actually had to change this for them a few different times, and this will give them the ability, and even our CSMs the ability to change this on the fly as needed, as it is requested. And then especially for our partnerships team, as we do more demos, it will help us to customize the application to the specific demos as well. On form, one of our areas was form design management and really starting to connect form design to workflow. So hoping to build this out to really start to expedite the building permit process, as well as the approval processes around construction, because as somebody submits a form, they can then create a workflow associated to it on what communications need to be sent out once a once a form is submitted, um, what kind of steps need to be taking place after a form is submitted, which department has to approve, which department has to be informed. All of those steps can be then automated and customized and changeable as the city builds out its process. Within that space, the a few key stories to call out is even admin ability to hide certain forms, to save form, and add new events to connect forms to workflows. So that was like a big update that we made in this sprint. There were a lot of other stories that we actually targeted. These are stories that have been on our sprint board, but we haven't been had a chance to get to. Um, the key ones to call out here is consistent favicon across all the different news page and browser types. Our favicon would change when we would go to our news page. We also launched the ability for users to follow tags within news and be informed when there's an update or a new article published to a tag. We created a separate note. We separated the notes page from the tasks. As we have started to build out our tasks, a lot of our notes and tasks were getting conflated on the same page. So we separated that based on our CSM's requests. And then we actually fixed the workflow where every time we click on a specific user, it would take us all, and we would close the page, it would take us all the way back to the home page. So that should be fixed now. And we added substatus to the user filters. So those were some of like the key stories that we targeted, really starting to clean up our existing functionality on that. In the next sprint, uh, we are planning to launch some stories on invoicing and payment systems that has been requested from Inkwashi, some small stories that we can show quick wins, and then new stories on construction planning and support. In terms of process, we have to launch the design process on building the invoicing and payment system within Kwashi, and actually we had a we have a couple of surveys that we are planning to send out in the next sprint to get more information on what types of features would be important for construction. And we're continuing to gather the latest plot data from Inkwashi. So that's the update on the product side.
So I hope everyone is doing well. So for this sprint was um, interesting. We had 20 merge requests. It's a little bit less than the previous sprint, but we also had in the sprint 38 stories. We completed 27. We had basically 11 stories left. So on the completed side, um, it's um, it says 27, but the previous sprint was 29. So it's not it even though it looks like a 7% drop, it's actually not very much. In terms of code coverage, the code coverage is up. Definitely on the React side, we seem to be dropping on the Rails side, but it's still pretty high. As Minza mentioned, the community, the highlights was really the community settings page, the workflow expansion. We finished the users page bulk changes functionality, and we also included a dependency check for us to know when a package has issues or a library has issues and when we actually need to change it. And it actually looks like this. So when I actually merge um, when a merge request is created, it will now actually show all the if there's any vulnerabilities found in the packages that we use. So one another view is here in the vulnerability report, and you can see all the vulnerability that you can have based on, and so that we can actually change the package, upgrade the package, or exchange the package for another library so that we don't have all those vulnerabilities. And I believe that's it for me. Thank you very much.